The saddest death of The Walking Dead's all-out war so far was not human. Rick and Daryl went all Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights on the Saviors, and Ezekiel might not just smile this day. We're breaking it all down on After the Dead. What's up, everybody? Welcome to After the Dead. The Walking Dead episode 804 is in the books. I am Brandon Davis, Call Me Petey, joined as of every Sunday night. Janelle Wheeler's here. We are dealing right now with the tragic loss of Shiva. This is very sad. It's crazy. We're going to talk about it. First, I just want your reaction to this episode. I thought this was a really, I think this might be my favorite episode of season 8 so far.
I agree. Super strong episode. I know it was extremely heart-wrenching. However, I loved the episode. I was clapping and yelling in several different moments throughout this episode. I was stoked.
And crying.
Loved it.
And a little bit of crying. We have some cool stuff. I talked to Melissa McBride this week, so we have some really cool insight about that. We're going to talk about this episode. We're going to talk about what's coming up on the show. I do want to warn you, we're going to talk about spoilers from The Walking Dead comics because there was some big moments of The Walking Dead comics that were teased in this episode tonight. So if you have questions, drop them in the comment section. We will answer your questions. We are live for After the Dead, so make sure you're dropping your questions in the comment section. But first of all, just like in the comics, Shiva died. It was issue number 118 when Shiva died. It was a little bit different in the comics. Ezekiel was there alone.
Okay.
It was a very similar sewage area, but he told the story. You see right there the text in this comic book image. Earlier in this episode, he told the story of how he and Shiva met. It's the same story that he was recalling when he was telling the story of how Shiva died. She sacrificed herself on the pages of issue number 118. I feel like we should be grateful. I know we didn't know Shiva very long, but in the comics, there was only 10 issues. She first appeared in issue number 108, and then her death was in issue number 118. So I feel like we got a good bit of Shiva here. I know, it's sad. It's never easy to lose a cat, guys. I'm a cat guy, okay? I know.
I am actually a dog person, but my tweet tonight was, tonight we are all cat people. Rest in peace, Shiva. Rest in peace. Shiva. We love you.
But the thing, obviously now, I saw tweets about this tonight. Everybody wants to know, can there be a zombie tiger? Not everybody, some people know the answer. I know some of you guys do. So just to answer that really quickly, no, there can't be. The way the mythology of The Walking Dead works, you cannot have a zombie tiger.
It would be awesome, but
it would be cool. But it's not Game of Thrones. We're not going to see Shiva's eyes open and be blue.
Right.
It's not the zombie polar bear. Shiva is dead.
Because we would have a lot of zombie deer if that was something that was going on in The Walking Dead world. We would have the
zombie horse from the very first episode.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
Very first episode.
It's like a White Walker zombie Walking Dead horse.
No, but that is cool. I'm glad we had that callback because this episode actually was a huge callback for Melissa McBride, who plays Carol, as you know. But you know, when she lost Sophia in the second season, she said we asked her. What is Carol thinking when this is happening, when Shiva's getting eaten? And she says it totally reminds her of when she was hiding under the car with Lori. She named Lori, she named Sarah Wayne Callies, which is always really cool to get those throwbacks.
Right.
But it reminded her of Sophia being across from her under the car as the herd passed by on that highway in Atlanta, which, by the way, fun fact, that same set was the set they used in the beginning of this season, that highway set. It was in episode 100 as well.
I love seeing these throwback images.
But as you see on the look on Carol's face tonight, it was not easy, and she probably was having flashbacks to Sophia as she watched Ezekiel watch Shiva die. But it's cool because it's going to kind of strengthen their relationship because now they have that heartbreak in common.
Right.
You know?
Does Ezekiel have any children? Did he have any children?
I don't think
so. I think this might be the closest thing he had to to his Sophia,
I know.
to a child. I'm very worried about his stability, honestly.
It's very sad. I can't. We're gonna keep harping on this Shiva thing. But speaking of callbacks, there might have been. I got to do a little more digging, but I saw somebody mention this. In the first season, you had Dale and Andrea at the CDC, and when Andrea wanted to check out, she wanted to go down with the CDC. She said Dale told her, "You don't get to do that."
Look at that face.
Yeah, and then that's the face I made when Shiva died. But he said you don't get to just do that. And The Walking Dead loves to do this. They love to mirror lines and apply them to other characters. And I'm pretty sure Carol or Cooper's Jerry Cooper Andrews may have said you don't get to do that when Ezekiel was like, just go, leave me here.
There were so many great moments also.
Yeah.
Just them trying to fight for him to remain the king alone. I mean, super powerful moments and little moments that kind of might have gotten bypassed. Watching it twice was something that I was really happy about. And this was one of the first episodes this season where I lost track of time, where I was so focused and into the episode
really quickly.
that when it was over, I went, what? No way, no way. Like, this was a really short episode, and then, no, it wasn't.
I saw Rihanna in the comments section just now said she's bawling right now. And we feel your pain. We feel your pain.
Listen, I sit next to him watching this, so I try really hard not to cry, but when I go home and I watch it again, I will be sobbing. I'm so glad I was not. I'm so glad I was not watching that episode with you, the Glenn episode, because it was a mess.
Oh, that was a rough.
I was in front of people, and it was mortifying.
I think the Glenn moment. I mean, the Shiva death is the saddest death of the season, of All Out War season 8, and which is kind of sad because we lost Eric, but I think Eric was never really developed very thoroughly. I think it's just kind of we lost an animal that like was very. And what made Eric's death sad was Ross Marquand's performance as Aaron, and you saw how hard it hit him.
Yes.
So the Glenn death was different because we were so attached to Glenn for so many years. I'll give it to you. But back to this scene, the end of the scene. There was a moment. I think there was a little detail of this scene that I think may have been important. The barrels that were in that sewage area.
Right.
Because the barrel says dangerous substance. You see it right there. There's Shiva's blood running past it. That doesn't mean she's going to be a radioactive zombie tiger. She's not coming back, guys. It's over. She's dead. But I want to know, I'm kind of wondering, like, is this going to be a plot point? Because, I watched Lost, so I'm trained to dig for these things.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, we've seen in episode 802, 2 weeks ago, you had that walker.
A very
in the woods.
strange walker
Very strange
that King
walker.
Ezekiel said
Right.
something
he
about.
He says, what befell this creature?
Right.
After Jerry kills it, and Jerry's just kind of like, well, I did. But it's a joke, but it seems to be more important because we see more walkers in this sewage area, kind of covered in this, whatever it is, growing
totally up
barnacles.
for glow-in-the-dark zombies. They are easy targets at night. I think we should give this toxic substance to all of the zombies so that they're easily killed. No creeping around in the woods.
Well, they're creeping. They're still creeping. That's the thing. I think we should kind of be worried that Negan might have this substance. He might weaponize it. He very well might weaponize it. In the comics, he found a way to weaponize zombie guts. They might change it and weaponize this radioactive. So I don't know. Whatever the substance is, it's possible. But speaking of saviors and Negan, we haven't seen Negan. Negan's coming back next week. We saw the preview for next week's episode. Father Gabriel doesn't look like he's a mole. Looks like he's taking a beating. But the savior who is doing a good impression of Barb from Stranger Things tonight, he totally. I mean, this dude with the glasses was, what was he?
I love that you call him Barb because before I even knew you were going to reference that, I was just saying, I was calling him the pervy nerd.
He's so creepy
He's perv nerd.
I'm so glad he's dead.
But I would imagine, as a glasses wearer myself, it's difficult for one to find the correct prescription glasses in this world. I would imagine that. And the styles in your said prescription will be hard to find. So I do understand the struggle trying to find the right frames. I'm sure there aren't doctors like putting the right prescription. And then what happens when your prescription changes? Because you are a Lost fan.
I have no idea how we got here.
No, because you are a Lost fan, I think about this all the time. Post-apocalyptic world, what would I do as a glasses contact wearer? I am blind.
They actually addressed that on Lost. They had Sawyer, the episode where Sawyer had to get glasses.
See, and now I need to watch this show.
Yeah, I suggest everybody watch. It's the best show ever. Second to The Walking Dead. But they did this glasses person who was never named, who got split in half, actually totally referenced King Ezekiel's death in the Walking Dead comics because Alpha puts Ezekiel's head on a pike. He said, they have the instructions not to kill King Ezekiel, Maggie, or Rick, but he's about to kill him, and he says, you know what, your head on a pike will do just fine.
Oh, goodness.
So that's clearly, I mean, they do that sometimes. They've done it to us with Rick's hands, and they've done it to us with Glenn with the baseball bat in like season 4, well before Negan came. They love to tease us as comic book fans. But the good news is that it doesn't happen for a long time. I'd say tonight's issue, Shiva's death, is issue 118. This happens between issues 144 and 145. Okay. So there's plenty of time for King Ezekiel to keep rocking it. It was pretty cool. But let's talk about the fact that Rick and Daryl totally. Let's move on. Let's get a happier subject.
This was another screaming moment for me. The clapping.
They were Ricky Bobby and Cal Norton Jr. out there. Oh my God, it was amazing. So, but I think that the fact that they're in this episode is a testament to the fact that they've learned from their mistakes in season 7. I know season 7 people had their problems with it for sure, but Scott Gimple has promised no more bottle episodes. And if you don't know, a bottle episode is when it's focused on one group of characters or one character, like 706 last year, Swear, the Tara episode, which wasn't a bad episode, but it's just that there was more interesting things going on. You have your fan favorite characters you want to see. They said they're not going to do that anymore. Tonight's episode is proof of that. It looked like it was going to be Carol and Ezekiel, which would have been a great episode.
Absolutely.
But they were like, you know what? Let's throw Rick and Daryl in because, the fans want to see everybody. We all want to see it. And instead of waiting till next week, let's do it all this week, which the pace was great, and I'm happy they did that.
I love that too.
But what Rick and Daryl were doing was intercepting those heavy guns, which is part of my next point.
I'm loving this. When you first said this is great. This is really great. Because you always seem to look beyond what we're seeing in the episode. I would have never thought. Come on.
I'm going to explain this. While I explain this, Janelle, check out the comment section. Pull some questions. Guys, we are live, so drop your questions into the comment section. We want to answer them. We want to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. We appreciate you watching the After the Dead with us on Sunday nights. But I have a theory on Negan and Dwight. I think Negan might know that Dwight is a traitor, or at the very least know that there is a traitor, and here's why. Okay, hear me out. I think that Dwight left the note for Rick. It had the note on it. It said heavy guns. It sent Rick and Daryl on this mission to go get the heavy guns. The heavy guns weren't there. Negan must have known they were coming. And I think Negan is smart enough. Negan's a very smart guy. I think Negan may have planted that. He may have only told Dwight or a couple of people, the heavy guns are at this place when they really weren't, as a way to see, like, if Rick hits this place, that means somebody told him the heavy guns were there. Now we'll see. Maybe my conspiracy theory tinfoil hat is a little bit too tight. I don't know. It could be.
I love it. I think that's that would wrap it all up. It would all come together and make sense.
Yeah. But for the longest time, I have also thought Father Gabriel was a mole, and I think that the preview for next Sunday's episode just kind of showed us probably not, because he got thrown on the ground pretty hard by Negan.
But maybe they're torturing the information out of him.
It could be. But that wouldn't make him a mole.
I know, but well, we can't play the mole sound.
What do you guys think?
Anymore,
we'll hear your feedback, and we'll read that after we answer these questions real quick. But what do you guys think? And after this, actually, I'm going to talk about Melissa McBride, and she finally defined Carol and Daryl's relationship. So I'll tell you guys about that in just a second.
Oh, I'm stoked.
But first, I want to know what you think of Father Gabriel being a mole, and I want to talk what's going on in the comments.
So Haley McKennis is asking, do you think Daryl has become too savage?
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God, I was so mad. You guys know that I was so happy to see Morales come back. I thought Morales' return was fantastic. The end of episode 802, I was like, whew, Juan Perez, man, you're back. I'm so happy. We had him on After the Dead. I told him how excited we were. It was really exciting. I was like, okay, we're going back to season 1. I love the references. I love when they talk about Shane and Lori, and they didn't mention T-Dog, R.I.P. But
T-Dog.
Then Daryl comes in, and while I was watching that episode, I was sitting there with Charlie. You guys know Charlie Ridgely. We host Comic Book Now together. I said, I swear, if Daryl comes in here and shoots him in the head, I'm going to be furious. And what does Daryl do?
I can't believe you called it.
And he shoots him in the head, and I'm furious.
I'm really...
That is how I feel. I was furious. And I think, and that kid outside, and it's kind of two-sided, though. Because then everybody's mad at Jesus,
right?
Because Jesus is keeping the saviors alive, right? And everybody's like, well, Jesus, why are you doing this? And they're sending Tom Payne tweets like, Tom, why are you doing this? Tom's like, I don't write it. But I can't, but it's a really well balanced, but I think Daryl is going a little too heavy on it.
I love that.
There was no need to kill Morales.
I agree. And it's beyond that. I mean, he has been killing like everyone in sight. It's everyone. But he's kind of always been that way. Like, he's always been that figure on this show. And I would be curious to know more about him before the apocalypse, because how would he have navigated the real world?
Right.
Did he just get in fistfights with everyone? I mean, he's just quick to the jump, and I feel like it's just his character. I don't think he's being overly savage any different than he just has been throughout the entire series.
I think he just got picked on by his brother, and now he's taking it out in the world. I see Kofi Outlaw in the comment section wants a Justice League review. Kofi, it's very good, but we're talking about The Walking Dead. Right?
I want to know
the Justice
more
League
too.
premiere tomorrow. It's gonna be all sorts of stuff on Comicbook.com. So
He doesn't bring us, y'all. He doesn't bring us.
Sorry, but okay. I promised you guys Melissa McBride scoopy scoop, and I'm gonna do it now. Everybody wants to know, Carol and Daryl, are they gonna be a thing? It seems like they're leaning towards Carol and Ezekiel.
That's what I want.
Look at these two, all right? Since season 1, or season 2 maybe, Daryl was kind of a jerk in season 1. But in season 2, he did the Cherokee Rose thing. She kind of looked at him and was like, want to go fool around, and they never actually showed it. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I had Charlie spoke with Melissa. I was doing some super secret stuff with The Walking Dead. I can't say what. But Charlie asked her, what's the deal with Carol and Daryl? Like, how do you see this relationship? And she said it is whatever it is. Like, it's just whatever you want it to be, because they don't define it on the show. Mm-hmm. It's like she didn't say that they're not going to, but she said there's no clear parameters on what this relationship is. She said that they're the most important person to each other, and they love each other very much. But whether it's going to be romantic, whether it is romantic, whether it's not, that's kind of up to whoever is watching them interact to decide.
Well, with that, my question is, do you think Daryl will get jealous if Carol and Ezekiel hit it off?
I kind of think Daryl would just make fun of her for being with a guy like Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Like, because he's an actor and he's just such
But what if that's what she needs?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think he'll know that, but I don't. Yeah. I totally think that Daryl would kind of come up and be
jealous.
Like, "You with this guy?" Like,
what do you guys think? Do you think he would get jealous? I personally, I don't think he would.
I think he would get jealous.
He just doesn't seem like a jealous type.
No.
That's cool. That's kind of hot. Daryl, you're back in my good graces. I don't have Glenn anymore, so.
Let's take a few questions, guys. We are live, so drop your questions in the comment section. Janelle's going to check them out for us.
We have a lot of people asking about King Ezekiel, but Melvin Smith is asking, will King Ezekiel be able to come back after losing his people and Shiva?
And I absolutely think so. I think he's going to go to a really tough place. If you read the comics, if you read the all-out war story, this is what happens. It's very, very similar what happens in the comics. They get ambushed. Ezekiel loses a lot of people. He loses Shiva.
Yeah.
And he feels really, really bad about it. But there's a moment where, in the comics, he's in a relationship with Michonne. That seems like Carol is kind of becoming the TV show's Michonne.
I really wish, I am definitely a TV show watcher. I started The Walking Dead for the TV show. I got into the comics after. Yeah. I try not to read ahead. However, after reading the comics, I really wish they would have kept Andrea. I wish that it would have gone that way.
I know.
How do you feel about that? Do you like that storyline?
There's a moment in season 3, and I think Laurie Holden will firmly agree with this, who played Andrea. But there's a moment in season 3 where she's walking up to the prison, she's walking out of the woods, and the governor just pulls her back into the woods. And it's in that moment when you go rewatch the series as a comic book fan, you're like, they were that close to redeeming Andrea and making her the awesome character she is in the comics.
Right.
All they had to do was let her walk to the prison and write a new story for her, and she could have been the awesome character we all fell in love with in the comics. She recently died in the comics, which was very, very sad, and it's scary for
that.
Hey, comic spoiler is fair game, guys. This happened months ago.
I knew she was bad.
Yeah, it was very sad, but and I love the Andrea in the comics. She's actually my favorite characters. But let's take just a couple more questions before we wrap up After the Dead tonight.
I'm sorry I have to. Charlie is asking, are Carol and Maggie ever going to happen? He's trolling us from the office.
Caggy? Meryl?
Oh my gosh, that's so great. Yeah.
People push relationships between characters who just should not be.
Yeah, they really do.
Charlie.
Charlie. My thoughts on the way that King Ezekiel was looking at losing Shiva, the look in his eyes. I really think something dramatic is going to change. And as a theater student myself, I feel like it's really cool to see someone who was like an actor find a place in this world.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
But without the acting.
Well, and that's like like
he has
the very
nothing
beginning
left.
of this episode, it seemed like he could have just been going to do a show.
Yeah.
Like he was getting dressed as if he was about to go take the stage.
Yeah, putting on his show makeup but I did not mind King Ezekiel with his shirt off. I'm just
Javier Oh, Kari Payne getting some love from Janelle. Okay.
Hey,
He's in
Kari.
good shape. I'll give it to Kari, man. That dude looks good. I see somebody. What was that comment from Javier Castillo? What about Morgan? You know, that's I can't even guess on Morgan because Morgan is dead in the comics.
Right.
So and you know he's disappeared before. He's clearly not stable. He knows that. If Morgan dies, I will riot.
What would you like to see since we don't have any like great guesses?
You know, I want to see him come back as a leader. I want to see him come back, like kind of find himself, find a purpose, you know, and like revive that relationship with Rick.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen and then we saw it. I think it was the season 6. Like the second to last episode of season 6, it might have been the finale before they met Negan when they were at the barn and they had a really cool conversation between Rick and Morgan. Like it was just the two of them having a conversation about everything that's happened. And Rick was like, "Yeah, Michonne did take your protein bar."
Right.
But it was like the two of them have that. They have that.
They do.
Like that. I don't know what the word is. Like they have like an exclusive connection.
Yeah.
That nobody else has because they were together at the start.
Is it weird that I wanted Michonne and Morgan to hook up?
I thought
that would have been a great match too.
It's no weirder than Charlie rooting for Carol and Meg.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Morgan. It sucks. I don't want to call him my favorite because every single one of my favorites gets offed. So I'm not going to say it. I'm just going I think it would be really cool when you said you want him to be a leader. It'd be so cool to see him go off and have his own story and create his own community where he is the leader.
I see Janet Kubanoff, by the way, just totally agreed with you on the Kari Payton. She dropped a whole bunch of fire emojis in the comment section. All right, let's take one last question here, and then we're going to wrap it up for the night.
Xavier Velez is asking, when do you think they will bring back the scavengers?
Oh, I've been wondering this myself because Pollyanna McIntosh, who plays Jada's coolest woman on the planet, by the way, she is a series regular now. And we haven't seen her yet. It's been 4 episodes. What are they paying her for, right? We're going to see her. She's going to have a big presence this season for sure. I can't imagine it would take more than a week or two for her to come back. It might not be next week because next week we're finally going to check in with the saviors like Negan and Dwight and maybe Eugene. We're going to see Father Gabriel's fate. So I don't think they'll crowd it, but I think you should beware of Jadis' return.
I actually thought that it was going to happen tonight. I really did. I thought that they were going to somehow capture Rick tonight, and I was pleasantly surprised that he got another episode where he is not caught. I definitely think that is him in the storage unit.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. With the scavengers.
And people, I've seen people on YouTube and in comment sections and all kinds of stuff. They've blown that image up and they've brightened it, and it's totally Andrew Lincoln
bleeding
in there.
On the side.
Yeah. So he's going to get captured, but also, while I will say, beware for the scavengers return. Also, beware of the Oceanside return.
Yes.
I'm just going to let you guys know.
Wait, beware or get excited about?
Be ready to see the Oceanside group again. I'm just going to leave you guys with that.
I'm going to say that's a good thing. I'm going to go yay Oceanside.
Let's hear. What do you think?
I hope they're going to be our allies. I really do. I mean, otherwise, what the?
They have no guns. But I will.
Maybe they're great at that yoga. I told you with Morgan, there's a yoga instructor living at Oceanside. Morgan is there. He's learning some great. He
becomes a leader. And he comes back.
It's happening. It's happening.
Yes, just be ready. I'm just going to leave you guys with that. Be ready for the return of Oceanside sooner or later. I promise they're coming back. But guys, that's all we have time for tonight. We really appreciate you watching with us every Sunday night after the Dead. We will have some special guests talking about The Walking Dead with us next week. We're really excited about it, so make sure you tune in. Big shout out to the South Carolina Gamecocks who beat Janelle's Florida Gators this week. And on behalf of Janelle, you stop it. On behalf of Janelle Wheeler at Comicbook.com, I'm Brandon Davis. Guys, we'll see you next week.
Bye, Shiva.